Hello Flosstube, this is Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel this weekend. I'm very glad that you're here with me. This past week I've been very busy. I've had some stashing and junking trips. I have a little bit of crafting. I have some progress on my current focus piece and I can't wait to share all of it with you. So grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, have a sit and let's chat. So this past weekend, I share with you my progress on Alphabet Zoo. This is by Blue Ribbon Designs. I'm stitching this for my grandchild that is being expected for this coming September. So last week when I left you, I think I had worked up through this one, or I was trying to complete this letter. And so I finished it and pulled out the next page and started this group of 4. So I've completed all of them but one. I should complete that one today, and then I'll pull over to the next page, which will be this group of 4. I have worked on some of the outlines. I have reached the bottom there, the bottom 2 corners, so you can kind of see the length of the piece. And I look forward to at least filling those in as well. That's not filling them in, but outlining those this week as well. I'm stitching it with DMC 3363. It's not the call for color. This is the pattern cover. And you can see it's stitched with like a cranberry red. And I changed it to a more gender neutral color for the baby. They're predicting that we're having a girl. But that was the prediction at first last time. And things were different. So if it's a girl, this will be the perfect color. If it's a boy, it'll be the perfect color. But I'll have it finished in time for framing so that it can be hanging in the baby's room when the baby arrives home. So here it is again. And I'm looking at probably 2 weeks to finish this one up. But then again, that's just a plan. I could finish it sooner, finish it later. You know how that goes. Plans are malleable. We can change them at our whim. So last weekend, I met with my local stitch group. And as I was leaving, my friend Mary let me know she had a few things she picked up for me. Mary loves to junk too, and we've been friends for many years. We met at our local stitch shop. And they were unexpected treasures, but very welcome ones. So the first thing she picked up was Gertrude Whiting's Old Time Tools and Toys of Needlework. And I have seen several of you, whether it be Instagram or Facebook groups, share this book, but I've never held it in my little hands. So I have a copy of my own, and I have not dived into this yet, but I'm going to put it on my bedside table. So this week I have a chance to peruse it a little bit. So I've been busy so much this past week in the evenings. I've had very little stitching time, and but this week should be different. In addition to this book, she brought me some plates. And I think it was the first year I did Flosstube. I had found this pattern of plate at a local thrift shop, and I picked up a couple of coffee cups or teacups, depending on where you're from. And this is the pattern. So Mary thought of me when she got them, and she was right to do so. I love them, and I'm hoping to get some of the plate hangers, and I'm going to hang a few here in my stitch room. I'll find the perfect spot and get them hanging within the next week or 2. So I think I have 5 to 6 of them. Of course, I'm not going to hang them all, but I'll hang a few. And I plan on continuing to collect it. I pick them up when I find them, but this is the first of these little saucers that I have. My friend Kristine came down for a visit this year. She came back down last year as well, but this year we've spent more time together. So we had dinner on Monday night, and on Tuesday and Saturday we were together all day. We've done some junking, we visited a quilt shop, we visited Joann's, and most importantly of all, we took a trip to Stitch and Frame Shop in Rock Hill, South Carolina yesterday. We had a great time. The best thing about Stitch Friends is the road trips you take to the shops and all the preparation and the talk there and all the talk about the plans on the way home. And that's exactly what we did. And it was a wonderful day that felt like it went by like this. So on Tuesday, it rained most all day here. I know a lot of people had some really bad weather, and we had a very heavy rain. I'm thinking 12, 16 hours of just solid rain. The weather wasn't bad here, and I feel for those that did have that bad weather in their areas, but it did not hit us quite as badly here. And but we braved the weather, and we got out and we visited a quilt shop. Now, I didn't buy any fabric, but I did buy a little tool. I've seen these online as well, and I picked it up. This is called a stash and store, and this is the mini. There's a larger one, and this is for just what it says, stash and store your little scissors and your little little trinkets. Now, I don't know if this Teflon, but I'm thinking it is. And you can just put your little trinkets. There's a seam ripper. Here's some of my scissors. And they don't move or fall. As you see that pattern there, so it kind of grips and holds them steady in there. Now I do have, I'm going to reach over and grab it. This is what I currently have my scissors in over here. And inside I've got some tweezers and some fingernail clippers. Majority of it is scissors and a bone laying tool. And this stays on my side table here when I stitch. But I have plenty scissors. And this will give me one little caddy to put them in, and that I can display them somewhere else in my room. I'll try to link it below. I don't know how readily available they are. Like I said, I have seen them somewhere else before. It comes in different colors, like a minty green and a purple. I just really love this color, so this is the one I picked up. But I look forward to displaying my little treasures, and I'll think of Kristine when I do. And I picked up some interfacing. I'm not going to bore you with that. But as if you've watched my past videos, I plan on finishing some ornaments this year. So I picked up some interfacing so that I could do that. And I hope to finish one tonight. So after leaving the quilt shop, we went a block over and went to a local antique junkie shop. And we were in there for a few hours. We both picked up some goodies. But this is the thing that I picked up. And I passed by it twice. And I kind of moved around because I'm familiar with the shop a little quicker than Kristine. So when I visited back to the what do you call it? It's not a cubby, but the stall that Kristine was looking around or rooting around in, I found this. I didn't see it the first two times, but it took that third pass to see it. And it's a little sewing box. It's in good shape. It's not nicked up. It's not scratched up. And the best part is the lid still works and it's still on its track. So there's the inside. So you've got the place for your little bobbins there and a deep little hole for your current progress piece. But the best part is this right here. My grandmother used to have one of those rolling top desks that had all the cubbies in it when you pulled it back. And as a kid, it's just one of those things that amazed me and I thought was beautiful. So the best part about it is this, and I love that the wood colors are varied from slat to slat. So I've not cleaned it up yet because I was so excited to share it with all of you, but I'll get that cleaned up too. So yesterday, Kristine and I met at 7:30 in the morning and took off to Stitch and Frame. She brought me a couple of gifts, and one of them was wool roving and some zinc ball canning jar lids. So this is she knows that I've got some Christmas ornaments to finish this year, and she wanted to know if I want to give it a try, the wool roving, so she brought that to me. And I am, even in the bag, it just seems so, it's got a more heft, a little more weight, I think, than polyfill. And so I do look forward to trying that. And then I had the ball canning jar lids. If you remember last year, if you watched me for some time, there was a design by Blue Ribbon Designs where you could do little pin cushions with bird. I think one was a blue bird, one was a red bird, and you finish them up on these ball canning jar lids. So I have those there if I decide to make some more, or maybe I find a different design to put on them. And then I have this. And then she gifted me a pattern. Now, flash back 2 or 3 years, there was a Sally Spencer stitch along, and I think, if I remember correctly, it started by Homesteading on the Homefront, Lynette. And I had that pattern, and I finished it, and it's sitting across from me with the initials of the stitchers that stitched it with us. And but the one that I really wanted was Happy Heart Sampler. And Kristine gifted it to me yesterday. She happened to have 2 copies, and she gifted one to me, and I'm so happy to have it. I've looked for it. Of course, this designer no longer designs. There are some of her patterns still out there, but this is one of the more popular ones, so it is not there. Now, when I finished my Sally Spencer up, I knew I could sell it. Many people were selling them for higher prices than I would be willing to pay for them, and I'm very much the type of person that will pass a pattern. I don't, rarely if ever do I sell them. I haven't sold a pattern in years. I will normally just pass them on to another stitcher. And so I feel like that's a kindness, and I feel like kindness comes back to you. And I passed my Sally Spencer, and this was the kindness that came back to me. I feel like kindness always comes back to you, and this is it. So I kitted this one up Saturday. I want to share with you. So the fabric that this one calls for was made by the designer Birds of a Feather, so you cannot get that fabric anymore. So I chose a color, and by doing so, I tried to match up the color here. I did not get it exactly. I did find some that was near to this, but I wanted to go a little bit lighter. And so I chose Stars Hollow Blend by R&R. I got a 36 count, and that's not showing it. That's more true. It's not yellow. It is has a little orangey to it. And then let me share with you the colors. Over here is better. That's more of what it looks like that I can see. So those are the colors, and they're all the called for except for the fabric. So I'm so excited to have this one. This will definitely be a 2022 start. I want to get this one started and finished and up on the wall, but I'm very happy to have it. Then I always check the clearance boxes. Most every shop has one, and I checked this one, and there's a heart in hand. This is Birds in the Hand Summer, and I picked it up because it would be a really quick stitch for a patriotic display. And then my favorite designer, I picked up this one. I didn't have it. This is Beloved by Lydia. And I chose my own. I believe I chose my own. Yes. She called for Boardwalk Linen by Color and Cotton. And I chose Antique Lace by Serendipity Designs. It has like a greenish undertone. And then I picked up the DMC. The shop didn't have all the called for threads, and so I pulled the DMC and was going to convert them, but I mainly wanted to do a floss toss since I was changing up the fabric because they didn't have the color and cotton, and so I just went ahead and purchased the DMC. So there's that. And then I picked up a few patterns. I didn't kit them. I just picked them up. And I'm so happy to have them. When am I going to stitch them? That doesn't matter. I think I'm missing one. I had a Nickel Apartment in here. There it is. It's a Hands Across the Sea by Nickel Apartment. And this is the Rose and the Giant Pear 1888. I've seen several of you stitching this on Instagram, and I think it's gorgeous. So I picked this one up. And then I picked up 2 Teresa Coguts. Now, I didn't look at market releases, so I don't know if these are market releases or not. Not that it really matters. But this is Love Lives Here, and it's a booklet. And I love it. It's patriotic design. I'm happy to have that one. And it's such a great, it's a great booklet. It's great paper. The pattern is easy to see, but there's, like I said, there's a couple of patterns in here. And then my favorite, I really should have kitted this one. But I knew I probably wouldn't start it this year. But this one just, This one grabbed me. When I saw it, I knew that I couldn't leave that yesterday without it. And this is Cotswold Fields by Teresa Cogut. There's nothing that I can find that I dislike about this pattern. The symmetry, the colors, the animals, the verse, everything. I love this. So I need to get this one kitted up. I'm kicking myself for not kitting it up yesterday. Now, Kristine, this is not her first visit here. She came last year, and we made a trip to Stitch and Frame then, and we bought several things, none of which but one, with the exception of one, have we started or finished. Now, last year, if you remember me stitching the Redwork sampler, we stitched that one together, and we both finished it. So we've decided to have another start this year. And this is one that she gifted me last year. I'm not even going to begin to try to say it. But as I was preparing to do the shopping trip on Friday night, I pulled this one back out. Even though I do love these colors, I decided to change it up to reds. So I'm going to share with you, I changed the fabric color and I changed the colors from blue to red. There's only 5 colors. And here are mine. I'm stitching it on a piece of, this is lamb's wool, and it's by Witchelt, which you all know. This is very starched, very, very stiff. But because we'll be finishing this into a pillow, a square pillow. So that pattern, let me show you. This is the pattern that you're finishing. But if you look here, this center part is only what's going to show on top if you finish it this way. So you can frame it this way, or you can finish it into this pin pillow, and you're going to be folding in these 4 corners to the back. So it'll be fully finished with stitching on both top and bottom. And that's what I plan to do, is this, if I can translate the French. But these are my colors. So I chose DMC. We spent probably 45 minutes just, and you can't see the fabric color. The fabric color really stands out with these colors. That's a little better. I wish you could see it more true. But so Kristine ended up doing exactly what I'm doing as well. She helped me pick out the colors. We worked at it for 45 minutes. You know how stitchers, you nest, you kind of, it's not that you're being selfish, but you're being selfish. You're out shopping, and we've got the DMC color cards spread out. We're in front of the DMC boxes, and we're just pulling and moving, and we make way for the other stitchers, but it's a little shop, and we did make a nest for a little while until we picked out the colors. But this is going to be our start for this year. And speaking of this, I have had stitchers reach out to me a couple of weeks ago when I finished up Ann Womack, which is a red sampler, telling me that they were blue sampler people and that could they convert it. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't have to follow the rules. If you have a sampler that you love and it's a red sampler and you're a blue girl, pull those blue threads out and get stitching. There are no rules. This is, once you purchase it, this is your pattern. Do with it what you may. Do what makes you happy. There's no rules in cross stitch. Go for it. Go for it. Just like we're doing here. Red is my thing right now, even though I love this blue. I pulled these colors and I look forward to stitching it. I can't wait to get it finished and share it with all of you. But this will be one of my next starts. I think I'm going to do another Prairie School or Christmas ornament after I finish my zoo, but then I'm going to jump right into that. So if you've not jumped out there and started your blue samplers or your black samplers, or if you're using green, whatever color you're using, jump out there, get it started. There's no rules in cross stitch. And then I picked up some things for the patterns that she and I started last year. I'm going to share them with you. I probably shared them last year. But first I wanted to share with you my list of things to buy. And so I had 2 threads for a pattern from last year that they were out of that I picked up. And then I had 2 things that I wanted to kit. One being the piece I just showed you that I'm converted to red, and the other one I didn't kit, and all these other things that I bought were not on my list. So off of my list, a kit, and 2 threads, I got a kit and 2 threads, and the third thing, which is the other kit, I didn't kit a thing. But let me share with you what we bought last year. This is what I wanted. This one, Kristine was kidding. I had bought the fabric last year, but this is Isabella Sinclair 1827. When I posted this on Instagram yesterday, I had several inquiries about this one. It is an Italian designer, I do believe, and I chose Week Style Works linen, and I believe that's what it's called for to stitch with. I am going to use DMC. It does also call for silks, which Kristine is using those beautiful silks, but I'm going to use DMC with these. Now, my thoughts with that were, if you see all the scroll work around the letters, there is solid colors of stitching, but my concern is the variation in some of the threads when you're using overdyes. Maybe some of those swirlies would be lost, and I know you can cut the threads and pull, you know, if you've got a light colored spot that may fade in, you can remove that piece off your thread, rethread your needle. I don't want to do all that. I'm just going to pull the DMC and I'm going to go with it. But this is going to be one of our starts together this year after we stitch our little red square. And this is one of the bags I made last year. It was a patriotic bag, but it was all about cross stitches. I bought that fabric from Joann's some time ago. And this is one I did at the beginning of last year using some of the Pioneer Woman fabric that they had released in Fat Quarters last year. And I just love it. I love it. I used Elizabeth Ann Creates tutorial for this, and I really love it. But I need to work on zippers. But here's another piece that Kristine and I bought last year, and this is Snow Angel by Lone Elm Lane, and that's what I needed. I'm going to put them in there right now as those 2 threads for. So this hopefully will be something else we work on this year. And I've got the threads and the fabric, and let me pull them out. Now I have all the threads, but it's stitched on. I picked up Winter Brew. And this is 36 count, and this is by R&R. And here's the threads. And again, here's the pattern. So that's one of the things. And everything we bought the same. That's something else. It's exciting to stitch, even though we don't see each other on a daily basis or monthly basis. We're able to stitch together from afar. So there's that. And the other thing we got last year, I think I bought this one. So I took this bag and I put all my blackbirds that I bought this year in this bag. And this is just one of the Vanna bags, the envelope pouches. And it's Mickey Mouse outside and inside. And I bought this one last year. And I bought the fabric, but no threads. And I bought Winter's Brew for that one too. And then I bought this one last year for when I was with her. This is Souvenirs of Summer. And I kitted up Summer's Jubilee. It's this one here. A lot of you were stitching it, and I loved it, especially as a patriotic stitch. But here's the fabric and the colors. But this is what we were going to stitch together this year. This is the pattern that we were going to kit up. So I have it in 2 different books. And in this book, which is a quilting book by Blackbird, it is called, bear with me, should have marked it. I thought I had marked it, didn't I? There it is. It's called Early Morning Read. But in the Ooh La La, it's the same pattern. And it is called A Bit of Spring. But this is the one that we were going to kit up. And I had ordered some hand-dyed threads to start mine with. And I didn't kit it. But I had ordered some threads just to kind of see what they're like. And they come this week. And they're by Stuart Moore Textiles. And this is out of Washington, D.C. And I ordered some fabrics. It's for embroidery. They do embroidery. But they come and they are just beautifully packaged with a little note written on the bag with a little wheat. And I didn't even really want to open it. But here's the threads. They're dyed with natural dyeing agents. And I just wanted to check them out. I wanted to see how they were. And this is the colors that I got. I just wanted to see if I would like them, and I knew that I could incorporate them into that pattern, A Bit of Spring. And let me show you the fabrics as well. Now, I'm not sure, I don't know that she does or will do our stitching fabric, but these are just linens, and I wanted to see how they dyed up with those naturals. So this is one of the colors, and that is showing more true back here. So it's a brown, kind of like Weeks Dye Work Havana. And then this color is just a beautiful saturated green. Let me fold it back up. The color looks better that way. I love that. So I just thought I'd share those for you as well. She popped up as an ad when I was perusing Instagram. I can't remember the person's name, the dyer. But again, Stuart Moore Textiles. I'll link it below for you, so if you want to check it out too. And then, of course, like I said, there's this card, and she left me the sweetest little note. Her name's there. Sheila. Her name is Sheila. So there's that, if you're interested in looking that up. And then after our stitching, stashing, oh, I did have one more thing that I picked up at the shop. I bought some last year, and I love them. But they're tiny little scissors. You hear the little click? I bought, here's my current stitch bag. I made the scissors fob last week, and I put them on my scissors from last year. Tiny little scissors, very inexpensive. So I got another pair. I don't know whether it's the daintiness of them I like. I think it is. But they do cut really well. But I made a scissors fob for both me and Kristine. And it is mother of pearl buttons and on a little lobster claw. And I made that one. And then I made an extra just playing around with some beads that I had on hand. I put a 2020 button charm on there because I thought I had my 2021s and I didn't. I haven't ordered the 2022s. But this is it. So I had the little blue iridescent beads. Kind of looks like grapes. And so I made that one as well. So when I get my 22 charms, I need to pull that off. But I picked up these knowing I had made these charms or fobs for my scissors. And I'm going to put this one on there now. And remember to order. And I'll link those below too. I like using these charms. Helen D gave me that idea 2 years ago. She puts the year charms on the piece she finishes. And I didn't realize, I knew I didn't have the 2022, but I was going to put a 2021 on it anyway. And I thought, well, I'll give Kristine some in case she has some things to finish. And I gifted her 2020 charms because I didn't realize they were the 2020. They weren't the 2021. And anyway, I'll link the charms below for 2022 because I need to order them today so I'll remember because I want to finish those ornaments. So anyway, there's that. And now I've got a spare charm for another pair of scissors. Well, I dropped them again. So yesterday, after all that shopping, we went junking. And I only have a couple things. One of the things I purchased was this. My son's an airman. I'm sure this is, I think he's a 3, and this is a 4. I'll have to ask him. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But if you remember, a couple of years ago, I finished this piece for 4th of July, and I turned it into a little book, and I incorporated, not only I'm a federal employee, so is my stepfather. My son is in the Air Force, but he did NJROTC. So I used his pens, my son's pens from NJROTC. So it was 2020 when I did it. There's a charm again. And then there's some of his pens. And then I used some ribbon just as edge of a book. I've got needles in here. I've got thread counters. Got patches from my stepfather's uniforms. Name tags from my job. And again, some of Jacob's ribbons. And I thought it would be kind of cool. And actually, Kristine found this for me to put this in this book. Because I used other pins and buttons, military buttons and pins that I found for this, as well as a blackbird design that I had. I put them up. Hold on, let me grab it so I can share with those that haven't seen it. Sorry. But here's the other piece. So this is a piece I had stitched that year, and I put some wool on it and then used some of the buttons that I had picked up at thrift shops and some of Jacob's buttons again from his NJROTC days to decorate this. So that's an idea you could use if you were so inclined. But I'm going to put the button that I thrifted yesterday into this book. Then I got 2 other things, and I'm going to share this one first. I posted this one on Instagram to get some questions. This is a pen pillow, and she's grubby, but I couldn't leave her there. And listen, it's crunchy. So I was asking if there was a way to clean it. So I've looked at some of the answers today. Majority of the answers says leave it alone, it may disintegrate. Others say that soak it in with some OxyClean. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some research. I'd like to clean her. As you can see, someone said it looked like just aged starches. But this is the crunchiest. It's this ribbon, which I'm sure is silk. And it's very hard, as well as this ribbon. So I'm on the fence. But I want you to look at her. We laughed, Kristine and I laughed yesterday, because she looks like she was sitting in a stairwell, having a little tryst with a young gentleman, and she snuck back out of that stairwell. She's fixing her hair. She's breathless. Her lipstick is smeared. Her eyes are just, you know. So she has a story. But I was also thinking, in all seriousness, if I did do that pillow, I could also do that the pillow I'm changing to red. Also do a blue one, and she could be the center of the top of that one. Just a thought. Because if you look, her hair has a blue tinge, even though her ribbons down the front are pink. She does need a light toothbrushing to clean some of the dirt from her, the dust. But she's beautiful. And I wonder what this looked like in the beginning. It looks like the ribbon may have been pink and the rest of it white. Who knows? Bottom looks much better than the top. But even that's dirty. But anyway, that was my purchase. And I have one more, and it is also stitch related, and it was $1. Now, we've had a conversation the past 2 weeks about things I've found and how cheap they are. This was $1, and I've got to wash this one too. This was only $1. It's 14 by 14. It hasn't been blocked. As you can see, it's kind of off kilter. Those are things I can fix. If this is a great example of why we should not fold our fabrics the same way every time we put them away or store them, or that we should roll them. You ready? Can you see this in the center? Now, it looks like some stitches are missing there. They're not. There's over 1 and over 2 stitching in the butterfly to define the wings and the antenna and the legs. But in the center, right there, there's stitches missing. And can you see the fold lines? This is the center of the folds, and that's where those stitches are missing. So if you need to see this, why other stitchers say, do not fold your linens, or if you're going to fold them, don't fold them the same way every time. Here you go. Now, my plan with this, we went to Joann's, is I got a zipper, a beige zipper, and just green fabric to match the green below. And I'm going to make a project bag out of it. I'm not going to make a pillow, although I could. I just plan to use it and appreciate it as this stitcher intended for it to be enjoyed. So I thought I'd share that with you too. I think that's it. I think I've got stuff all around me, and I think that's it. So this week will be much more calmer, not quite as many things to share next weekend, I'm sure. I'm going to continue to work on the alphabet zoo, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. My videos are usually much shorter than this because I just show my works that week and we move on and we get to sit back to stitching. But I want to thank you for taking the time to share a few moments with me today, for you to enjoy the things that I've shown along with me. You always leave the best comments and so supportive, and I thank you for that as well. So until next time, cross all those X's and happy stitching. Bye-bye.